Chapter 91. You are listening at Novelful.audio. Pull up the system interface. Jiang Cheng, in the back of the BMW 3 Series, silently gave the command. Instantly, a translucent panel only he could see appeared in his vision. Host, Jiang Cheng. System level, LV5, 102 million/1 billion. Talent, Joyful Life. Joyful Life LV5. As the designated perfect life experiencer, you have a 5% chance of triggering this passive ability with any joyful experience in your daily life. Triggering it awards a random bonus. Talent, Concentration. Active ability, Godlike Posture, 29 days remaining. Card, King of Destruction, Blue. Card, Luxury Car Collector, Blue. Card, Deadbeat Card, Purple. Jiang Cheng had gritted his teeth and spent 40 million to buy the deadbeat card before completing the transfer of 110 million. He wasn't sure if the system mall would refresh the same card again after the update. His total spending for the day came to 150 million, the direct result. Another system upgrade, besides the usual 1% bump in the talent trigger rate, the best part was the new item in the system store, Dark Gold Card, I am the boss. Use this card to unconditionally become the majority shareholder of any company worldwide. P.S. For international companies, the system creates a completely confidential legal front for you, so don't worry about a thing. It cost 500 million, but the card was totally worth it. Just imagine, 500 million to become the majority shareholder of a megacorp like Apple, Samsung, or Volkswagen, with an untraceable ownership. You couldn't beat that deal with a stick. What a steal. Dark gold indeed. Finding 500 million wouldn't be a problem, the real question was which company to target. He wanted to maximize his return, naturally. Mr. Jiang, are you serious about this? When Jie, driving in front, caught Jiang Cheng's eye in the rearview mirror, looking concerned. Building Qinfeng Capital's headquarters and office park on that land, it's going to cost a fortune. Don't worry about it. I've got a plan, Jiang Cheng replied, closing the system interface. He was well aware that building the headquarters alone would cost far more than 100 or 2 million. After dropping 150 million today, Qinfeng Capital only had about 60 million left, that barely covered the foundation, but Jiang Cheng wasn't sweating it. He had a plan. He'd play his most powerful card, the deadbeat card. Demolish the old buildings with the King of Destruction to get some cash, then mortgage the land. That's right. He'd even count the 1 billion he leveraged from Zhaohang for the stock and futures markets as personal debt, borrow everything he could, max out the leverage, then wipe it all clean with the deadbeat card. Easy peasy. As Jiang Cheng was thinking, inspiration struck. The names of the colossal real estate companies from his previous life, Hengtai, Beguiyuan, Rongchuang, popped into his head. Wait, if I'm maxing out the leverage anyway, screw it. If we're gonna play, let's play big. A crazy plan exploded in Jiang Cheng's mind. Boss Jiang, you okay? You look a little out of it. Wen Jie, spotting Jiang Cheng's excitement in the mirror, asked with concern. Ah. I'm fine. Jiang Cheng clenched his fists, trying to contain himself. Take me to see Xing Zhibang and the others. I need to talk to them. Sure thing. Half an hour later, Jiang Cheng got out of the car near the construction site. He smoked a cigarette while waiting. Soon, he saw Xing Zhibang and the others puttering up on an electric scooter. Sun Jun squatted in front, Duan Yong crammed in the back, and Xing Zhibang, big as he was, somehow sandwiched between them. The three of them on that little scooter looked like something out of a cartoon. Seeing Jiang Cheng, Xing Zhibang waved and called out as they headed inside, Brother Jiang. Long time no see. Xing Zhibang parked the scooter, and then spoke to Jiang Cheng with some hesitation. Compared to yesterday's ease, Xing Zhibang and his crew were now noticeably more formal and respectful after witnessing Jiang Cheng drop over 100 million on the land. It was only natural. The class difference between them was vast. Hey, knock it off, Brother Xing. No need for the sir crap, Jiang Cheng replied. We're all friends here. Okay, if you say so. Xing Zhibang scratched his head sheepishly. Come on in, have a seat. Speaking of which, Brother Xing, Jiang Cheng began as they settled in, now this land's mine. That means I'm in charge of the demolition. I want to hear from you, any questions, any demands. Let's get everything out on the table and find a solution. No problem, man, I trust you. Xing Zhibang grinned. Just give me what's left of my rent, and we're square. Can't do that, Jiang Cheng said seriously. Whatever you've invested, I'll compensate you, no question about it. Man, that's righteous of you. Xing Zhibang and Duan Yong were impressed, their opinion of Jiang Cheng soaring. In that case, we're on board. When you say move, we move. Appreciate it, guys. Jiang Cheng paused. Actually, I had another idea. Maybe you'd be interested. Chapter 92. You are listening at novelfull.audio. So, you're saying, you want me and old Xing to join Qinfeng Capital? Duan Yong frowned, considering Jiang Cheng's offer. Mr. Jiang. Xing Zhibang chimed in, I know you're being generous, but me, old Xing, I'm just a simple guy. My only real skill is my strength. I'm not sure I'm worthy of your kindness. Guys, listen, Jiang Cheng said, not at all discouraged by their hesitation. Maybe I didn't explain myself clearly before, and that's why you're misunderstanding me. He leaned forward, his gaze sweeping across the table. I'm not just offering you 2 jobs at Qinfeng Capital. What I'm proposing is that Qinfeng Capital invests in and acquires your security company. His tone grew stronger. As the parent company, Qinfeng Capital can assist with your company's operations, provide ongoing capital, and even offer some advantages in terms of networking. Does that make more sense? Jiang Cheng smiled, waiting for their response. His offer was incredibly generous. He was sure that no one else would offer Xing Zhibang's company such a deal. Simply put, he thought they were worth it. He trusted his judgment of people. Xing Zhibang and Duan Yong, despite their tough situation, were sticking by their comrades, no man left behind. That kind of loyalty was something Jiang Cheng valued highly. He'd trust them with his life, and he was determined to get them. I get it, Sun Jun said, catching on quickly. You're planning to invest cash in Xing's security company? Exactly. Jiang Cheng nodded. But if that's the case... Xing Zhibang asked, surprised, Mr. Jiang, what's in it for you? It's simple, Jiang Cheng said. First, I'll have my own security company providing reliable personal protection. Second, Qinfeng Capital will get a share of your company's profits down the road. Haha. Xing Zhibang scratched his head, Mr. Jiang, between us, let's be real, looking at our company right now, does it look like we're making any profits? Maybe not now, but that doesn't mean it won't happen, Jiang Cheng said, looking at them intently. I've seen the amazing loyalty you two have for your old buddies. I believe in your character, your responsibility, and your abilities, Brother Xing and Brother Duan. Given the right opportunity, you can accomplish great things. And I want to help you get there. Xing Zhibang and Duan Yong fell silent. His words had clearly struck a chord. Every man wants to make his mark on the world. Nobody wants to scramble for a living day in and day out, to have to answer to everyone. Who wouldn't want to make something of themselves? But it wasn't always in the cards. Even the strongest dragon can't fly when it's weighed down, much less a regular guy, and even though they were struggling, they'd never abandon their brothers in arms. That was what had caused their initial misunderstanding of Jiang Cheng. Now, Jiang Cheng's sincerity had clearly put their biggest concerns to rest. Qinfeng Capital's power was obvious. With a backer like that, they'd be set. Come on, you two old squad leaders. Sun Jun said, getting impatient. Tell him what you think. Old Duan. Xing Zhibang looked at his partner. Duan Yong nodded firmly. Okay. If Mr. Jiang believes in me this much, Xing Zhibang slammed his hand on the table. I'm a roughneck, I'm not good with words. All I can say is, anything you need, Mr. Jiang, I'll go through hell and high water for you. Mr. Jiang, Duan Yong added, standing up. Old Xing's right. We're just soldiers. We don't do fancy speeches, but we understand the meaning of loyalty. From now on, whatever you need, we'll do our best. Haha, you guys are too kind, Jiang Cheng laughed. So, how about we seal the deal with a drink? Sounds good. Mr. Jiang, I'll drink first to show my respect. Same here. Brothers Xing and Duan, Jiang Cheng said, settling back in his chair. I have one more thing I want to discuss. What is it, Mr. Jiang? Xing Zhibang asked. I was thinking, Jiang Cheng said slowly, that Qinfeng Capital could start a charity to help poor veterans. And later on, we could donate a portion of the security company's profits to the charity. What do you think? That's an amazing idea. Xing Zhibang and Duan Yong were visibly moved. Mr. Jiang. We support that 100%. From that moment on, the two veterans were completely sold on Jiang Cheng. Chapter 93. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 3 days later, at project headquarters, far from Qinfeng Capital's newly acquired construction site in the southern district, Jiang Cheng, wearing a hard hat, sat at the head of the table. Xing Zhibang, Duan Yong, and others stood behind him. Shen Yunpeng, the Northwest construction prince, was also there. Despite a minor disagreement earlier, Shen had a big night out with Jiang Cheng and put it behind him. He wasn't stupid. He knew this younger guy was someone he couldn't afford to cross. People are like that, they always respect power, especially when it's shrouded in mystery. Shen Yunpeng saw Jiang Cheng, with his mysterious background, as being on par with, or even more powerful than, his formidable sister. Befriending him would benefit both the group and himself. Dude, everything's ready, Shen Yunpeng said, having confirmed it repeatedly over the walkie-talkie. He glanced at the workers retreated beyond the safety line. Everyone's evacuated. We can start the blast anytime. Shen Yunpeng seemed a little puzzled. What's with this guy wanting to push the button himself? Just for the thrill. These rich guys are wild. Jiang Cheng didn't care what Shen thought. His eyes were fixed on the red detonator button. Card, Lord of Destruction, activate, ding. Card activated successfully. Jiang Cheng didn't hesitate. He slammed the button, boom. The old building shuddered, then collapsed into rubble within minutes, ding. The system chimed, destruction detected. Card, Lord of Destruction, taking effect immediately. System cashback multiplier will be randomly selected, based on the land purchase price. Please wait. Congratulations. 5x critical hit cashback. Congratulations. Cash reward of $80 million. Rewards are being distributed, please wait patiently. $80 million. Jiang Cheng was stunned, then ecstatic. Nearly $500 million yuan. He wondered why the system was using US dollars. Does this busted system worship foreign stuff? His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Dear Mr. Jiang Cheng, congratulations on opening a private confidential account with UBS Group and becoming a VIP client. You can now access your account online. Login will be provided with your bank card. Initial password. UBS is committed to safeguarding your personal interests and protecting your confidential information. Sincerely. UBS. United Bank of Switzerland. Jiang Cheng's eyes widened. As a finance major, he knew UBS. One of the world's safest and most powerful banking groups, managing the world's largest private wealth. Crucially, they're known for absolute client confidentiality. Swiss law forbids bank execs or employees from disclosing client information to anyone, even family or the Swiss government. Depositors only provide their real names initially, then the account is coded, removing their name. Before 2017, Switzerland shared no financial or tax information with any country. That meant no country knew who had a Swiss account or how much was in it. Jiang Cheng understood. The system used US dollars because Swiss banking secrecy protected the funds. It wasn't the system directly printing money like in those online novels. but it was still pretty sweet. Moving money across borders was tricky, but bringing it back was less of a problem, since it boosted foreign exchange, right? The settlement would be more complicated, but that was the bank's problem. Jiang Cheng figured this UBS account would be where all future system bonuses would go. He left the site to Shen Yunpeng and headed back to Qinfeng Capital HQ, and when Jie's car, excited, he figured the system would have set things up by now. "Hey, Mr. Jiang." As he entered the office, the receptionist greeted him, handing him a craft paper envelope. "Just arrived for you." "Thanks," Jiang Cheng said, taking the envelope and rushing to his office. Inside was a black UBS bank card with the initial login name. He logged into the UBS account, changed the password, and checked things out. Sure enough, $80 million was there. Tracing showed it came from an overseas foundation. Due to confidentiality, the foundation's details were hidden. Even Jiang Cheng couldn't access them. He didn't care. He figured this foundation was just another system trick. Yeah, a simple transfer, and you went to all this trouble. You really embarrassed the little system. Chapter 94. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After approving the transfer of funds from the Ruein account, Jiang Cheng grabbed the documents when Jie sent over and started digging into the company's September financials. It was already the 30th. Another month down, he'd gone from a middle-aged loser to a big shot, finally morphing into a newly minted rich guy with billions in cash flow. It was a wild ride, but this was just the beginning. Over the upcoming National Day holiday, Jiang Cheng planned to put an even crazier scheme into motion. If everything broke right, his assets could conservatively hit billions, maybe even more, in about 2 weeks, and almost all of it liquid. Whoa! He exhaled, buzzing with excitement, looking at the sunset over Shijing City outside the office window. Knock, knock. A soft knock at the door broke his train of thought. He turned to see Lu Xian standing there, her black hair cascaded like a waterfall, her eyebrows like green willows, her skin like snow. She was wearing a light-colored knee-length dress, the silk fabric clinging to her slender frame. The makeover had worked wonders. Her natural beauty was now impossible to ignore. "Jiang Cheng. Dinner's here." Maybe she was a little self-conscious under his gaze, because she looked down as she spoke. Her hands fidgeted with the hem of her skirt. "Cool, bring it over." Jiang Cheng nodded. Since profits were solid, the company provided free catered meals from local restaurants for the employees, and if someone needed to work late, dinner was only a phone call away. A lot of people chose to eat at the office. The food was good, and it was easy. It was like an unofficial perk of the job. Lu Xian nodded, hurried over, and placed the box on his desk. "You eat yet?" Jiang Cheng asked, opening the box. "Yep." Lu Xian stood by quietly. "What did you have?" "Get enough protein." "Aha, aha, aha." Lu Xian ticked off the items on her fingers. "Dinner had fish, shrimp, and veggies." "That it?" "Then. Jie gave me a drumstick, Mr. Zhang sent over a little box of kiwi, Qian helped me order milk tea, and Xiao Su." Hearing the list, Jiang Cheng, who'd been trying to look serious, couldn't help but smile. Guess she was the office sweetheart. Outside the office, new trainee Xiao Su looked toward the office and whispered to Qian Cheng, "Hey, you think Mr. Jiang and Lu Xian are, like, together?" Qian Cheng, packing his things, raised an eyebrow. "There are things you can say at work, and things you can't. For this, just see through it and don't say it." "Gotcha, brother Qian. Let's go. Time to clock out." "Huh. Now. But I still have reports." "Xiao Su," Qian Cheng said, nodding toward the other employees heading home and then back toward the office. "You gotta know the time, get it?" "I get it, brother Qian." Xiao Su packed up and left with the others. When Jiang Cheng finished eating, the office was empty. "Those guys." Jiang Cheng muttered to himself. Behind him, Lu Xian, suddenly aware they were alone, blushed. She glanced at him, then quickly looked away, lowering her head. Her shyness got to him. Jiang Cheng, everyone's gone. Should we head back, too?" Maybe it was his stare that made her so uneasy. "Sure." Jiang Cheng nodded. He wouldn't beat around the bush. He wanted Lu Xian, a lot, but he knew now wasn't the time. He might have been a scumbag, but he still cared for her. If there was a sea in Jiang Cheng's heart, then Lu Xian is the most shining pearl in this sea. He didn't want to pressure her, or sweet-talk her, just to scratch an itch. A forced fruit might taste like something, but it'll sour, so he'd wait. He'd wait until their feelings blossomed, and the time was right. That was the best for both of them. They left the office and headed to the elevator. Jiang Cheng suddenly sniffed a strong, unpleasant odor in the air. Then, the fire door behind them flew open, and a short, fat figure charged out of the dark hallway. "Watch out!" Jiang Cheng grabbed Lu Xian, pulled her close, and dodged. A stream of stinky slop splashed in front of them. The putrid, fermented mess splattered the walls and floor, filling the elevator lobby with a foul stench. "Slut! You bitch!" Fan Guixiang, her face twisted with rage, screamed. Lu Xian, trembling in Jiang Cheng's arms, paled. The nightmare she'd been dreading had come back. "You shameless thief!" Seeing that the filth hadn't hit Lu Xian, Fan Guixiang chucked the bucket on the ground and charged toward her. "I'll kill you." Chapter 95. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You little worm. I'll scratch your eyes out. I'll beat you to a pulp. Fan Guixiang's screams and curses echoed as she charged at Lu Xian like a woman possessed. Her fat, dark face was contorted, and her eyes were bloodshot, making her look like a ghoul. "Are you out of your mind?" Jiang Cheng exploded. Without a second thought, he slapped the crazy woman across the face. He couldn't believe she had the audacity to come to his place and cause a scene, especially trying to hurt Lu Xian right in front of him. He unleashed all his fury, and the force of the blows sent her sprawling. Fan Guixiang clutched her swelling cheek and howled in pain. "Fan Qingyao, you're worthless. If you don't get over here, I'm going to get killed." "Mom!" Her screech barely faded before a shout erupted from the dark hallway outside the stairwell. Then came a rush of footsteps, and a skinny, pathetic-looking guy darted into view. Right behind him, a whole crew followed, yelling as they came. They swarmed Jiang Cheng and Lu Xian, surrounding them. "Don't worry." Seeing the ambush, Jiang Cheng stepped in front of Lu Xian, who was shaking like a leaf. He tilted his head slightly and whispered, "When I tell you to run, you bolt. Head back to the office and lock the door. Don't think about anything else. Got it?" "But..." Tears welled up in Lu Xian's eyes. "What about you? Don't worry about me. Just save yourself." "No. I can't. This is my fault. I won't let you get hurt. Will you stop being so stubborn? Just listen. If you're safe, we'll both be okay." Jiang Cheng said urgently, "This isn't the time for loyalty, understand?" "Got it. Got it." Reluctantly, Lu Xian bit her lip and nodded hard. Terrified as she wasn't stupid. She knew that staying would only make her a liability. The only way to help Jiang Cheng was to get back to the office ASAP and call security for backup. While Jiang Cheng and Lu Xian were whispering, Fan Guixiang was still on the ground, kicking, flailing, and yelling. "You're useless. Don't call me Mom." She jabbed a finger at her son's nose, screaming, "Someone steals your wife, and you don't have the guts to take her back. I don't have a son who's such a coward." "Mom, it's okay. Look, I brought my boys with me." Fan Qingyao hurried over to the fat, thick-necked guy with a shaved head who had arrived last. "Mom, this is my older brother, Chang Jinbiao, Biao. He'll sort this out for us." "That's great." A flicker of delight crossed Fan Guixiang's face. "Biao, you have to stand up for my Yaozi." "Ha! Yaozi's my brother. I'll naturally handle this." The round-faced, round-bodied Biao, sporting a gold chain as thick as a finger around his neck, patted his shaved head and cast a lustful glance at Lu Xian. "Damn! Yaozi, is this the wife you were talking about?" Fatty Biao licked his lips and grinned. "Damn, she's a looker. How could such a fairy be with a sharp-nosed, monkey-faced guy like you?" "Hee hee. Brother Biao, you're too kind." Fan Qingyao said obsequiously, "My mom and her dad remarried. It was agreed that Mom would take care of her sick dad, and then she would be promised to me. Oh, I see. You got lucky. Fatty Biao chuckled lewdly, then gestured for the eager Fan Qingyao to come closer. Hey, Yaozi, before you get married, let me get some. Brother. If you're willing to help, hee hee hee. Fan Qingyao snickered shamelessly. When the time comes, my wife is your wife. We're brothers, right? Okay. I like your style. Fatty Biao couldn't hide his glee, his mouth stretching into a wide grin that revealed yellow and black teeth. I'll take care of this for you. But with that, he pushed his way to the front of the crowd and studied Jiang Cheng, who was shielding Lu Xian. His smug expression suddenly hardened, and his small eyes narrowed even further. Huh. I didn't expect it to be you again. Fatty Biao smirked. Looks like what they say is true, enemies meet on the same road. It's you. Seeing Fatty Biao emerge, Jiang Cheng's heart sank. It was the same jerk he'd encountered at the barbecue place before. Kid. Fatty Biao stepped closer, and sneered, thanks to you, I got my head cracked open last time, and I spent a month in jail. Looks like fate had a little something for us to take care of. So? Jiang Cheng challenged with a cold stare. Are you worried I'll smack you again this time? The odds were stacked against him, but he couldn't show any fear, he couldn't escape anyway, so he might as well try to take out Fatty Biao, the ringleader, if he had the chance. Ha ha ha. I like the energy. Sensing the dangerous glint in Jiang Cheng's eyes, Fatty Biao moved back a few steps and barked at his crew, listen up, boys. Don't hold back. Beat this punk to death. I'll cover for you. Lu Xian, go. Seeing the men circling them with evil grins, Jiang Cheng shoved the office key into Lu Xian's hand and hissed, urging her to run. Got it. Lu Xian nodded firmly, the door lock is on the right side, turn clockwise twice. The landline is at the front desk. The property's number is, clutching the key, Lu Xian ran toward the door, rehearsing the steps in her head, but, either because of the sudden sprint, or because she was so nervous and trembling, again and again, the damned key wouldn't go into the lock. Ha! Where do you think you're going? Just as Lu Xian was panicking, the ominous voice of Biao's henchman sounded behind her. Come here. Big, meaty hands wrapped around Lu Xian's waist, crash. At the last moment, Lu Xian, with her eyes squeezed shut, heard a thud behind her, then, the commotion abruptly died down, she spun around, terrified, and saw the thug who was supposed to be chasing her now in a weird, limp posture, collapsing onto the smooth marble floor of the elevator lobby, his eyes rolled back in his head. At the same time, a tall figure that seemed to appear out of nowhere rose quickly and blocked Jiang Cheng from view in the blink of an eye. Chapter 96. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sudden shift definitely caught everyone off guard, heads turned as all eyes locked onto the imposing figure who materialized next to Jiang Cheng, a man built like a brick shithouse. Mr. Jiang, sorry I'm late. Xing Zhibang, scowling at the thugs, gave Jiang Cheng a slight bow. Jiang Cheng just smiled. You're right on time. Leave the rest to me. Xing Zhibang's voice was a low growl. He turned his gaze, now laced with menace, on the gang facing them. Shit. Fatty Biao, taken aback by this sudden mountain of a man, cursed under his breath, a veteran of the streets. He could tell this guy wasn't just muscle, the waves of killer intent rolling off him suggested he'd definitely spilled blood. Hey, brother. Fatty Biao, trying to play it cool, nudged past his crew and addressed Xing Zhibang from a distance. This is between me and the kid. Nothing to do with you. I'm just saying, Fatty Biao advises you not to get involved. Yeah, right, Xing Zhibang scoffed, totally blowing him off. He casually cracked his neck, the sound like breaking twigs, then, with a single finger, he beckoned to the entire group. What the hell? Fatty Biao's greasy face darkened at the blatant disrespect. Are you sure you want to do this? Who do you think you are? Xing Zhibang sneered. You think you're worth the trouble? That did it. Fatty Biao's fuse blew. Screw this. Get him, but before the words were even out of his mouth, Xing Zhibang was on him, a black whirlwind of fists and feet, he plowed through them like a tiger in a chicken coop, each blow sending a goon sprawling. Cut it out, please, mister, have mercy. As Xing Zhibang's hand clamped down on Fatty Biao's bald head, the tough guy act vanished, replaced by a desperate whimper. It was a seamless transition. Man, oh man. This is all a big misunderstanding. Just a misunderstanding. Seeing the icy fury in Xing Zhibang's eyes, Fatty Biao's own widened in terror. His knees gave way, and he landed on the ground with a thud. He pleaded with Jiang Cheng behind him, I swear, I won't ever try anything again. Just let me go, like I'm dog crap, okay? Mr. Jiang. Xing Zhibang looked over to Jiang Cheng for confirmation. The boy simply nodded, his expression unreadable. Got it. A cruel smile twisted Xing Zhibang's lips. No. Don't, thump. His hand slammed Fatty Biao's head into the grimy ground, a messy mix of leftovers and grease. Fatty Biao didn't even have time to groan before his legs twitched, and he lay there like a dead pig, completely still. In less than 5 minutes, the tough guy had laid everyone out, the Fan family, mother and son, huddled in a corner, shaking like leaves. Hey, you two. Xing Zhibang sauntered over, his face a mask of menace. Stay away. Fan Guixiang, eyes wide with terror, screamed, help. Somebody, help, *SHNK, the snap of a blade silenced her. Xing Zhibang smirked, flipping open a folding knife, its edge glinting under the dim light. If I ever see you again, you know what's coming. This was a man who'd seen some serious shit, and the aura of cold, brutal violence he exuded was palpable. The Fan family, who'd never known anything beyond their pathetic little world, were scared out of their wits. Get out. At his roar, the Fan mother and son didn't waste time grabbing their belongings. They scrambled for the stairwell, they slipped on the greasy floor, nearly tumbling down the steps in their terror, and fled. Mr. Jiang, how was my performance? Now that they were gone, Xing Zhibang closed the knife, turned to Jiang Cheng, and grinned. Not bad. Jiang Cheng gave a nod of approval, then added, if a perfect score is 10, I'd say 8.8. You lost a point 2 for licking the blade at the end there, just a little bit. Xing Zhibang. After calling the building security and having them alert the police, Jiang Cheng and a shaken, but now calmer, Lu Xian headed back toward campus. They won't bother you again, ever. He stopped at the entrance to her dorm and spoke quietly. So don't dwell on what happened back there, okay? Okay. She clasped her hands in front of her and nodded shyly, her voice full of gratitude. Thank you. Jiang Cheng. Thank you for doing everything you could to protect me. Don't even mention it. Jiang Cheng smiled. You're my employee, after all. It's a boss's job to look out for their team. Lu Xian, eyes fixed on the ground, didn't respond, but she nodded again. All right, get some sleep. Good night. Jiang Cheng turned to leave. Just, to protect your team, is that all? Watching Jiang Cheng walk away, Lu Xian bit her lip. Gathering all her courage, she called out to him. Jiang Cheng stopped, surprised. In all his time knowing her, he'd never seen Lu Xian be so forward. A smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. He paused for a beat, then turned back to her, a warm smile lighting up his face. Of course, it's more than that. Lu Xian's face flushed crimson at those words, the blush spreading all the way down her neck. She pressed her hands to her chest, watching his figure fade into the night. A happy smile bloomed on her face. Chapter 97. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In October, with autumn in full swing, the National Day holiday was finally here. The Xijing International Convention and Exhibition Center was packed. This year's Golden Week International Auto Show was the biggest yet. Cutting through the crowd was a handsome guy in a Versace hoodie. He was definitely turning heads, but even he couldn't outshine the two stunning women flanking him, Lu Xian and Wen Jia. Lu Xian was rocking a simple, light-colored dress. Her gorgeous black hair flowed down, making her skin look even more porcelain-like. Even without makeup, her face looked incredibly fresh, pure, and natural. Wen Jie, a total knockout in her own right, had a slightly different vibe. She was also naturally beautiful, but being a bit older, she usually went for a more put-together, understated look. Today, she was wearing a casual white shirt and wide-leg jeans, with just a touch of makeup. She looked effortlessly young, fashionable, and mature all at once. The trio of hottie plus two bombshells was definitely attracting attention, and probably starting a few arguments between couples along the way. A little ways back, Xing Zhibang and Duan Yong trailed with 6 other guys. Jiang Cheng had specifically asked them to bring some backup today, saying it was to get some cars for Pioneer Security Company, which Qinfeng Capital had just bought, as the new bosses of Pioneer Security. Xing Zhibang and the others weren't about to question Jiang Cheng, but they weren't blind either. They kept their distance, letting the boss enjoy his time with the ladies. "Mr. Jiang, what kind of car are you looking for?" Wen Jie asked, eyes scanning the endless booths. "Whatever catches your eye," Jiang Cheng replied casually, hands in his pockets, with $500 million burning a hole in his pocket. He was here for one thing, to spend money and get some sweet cash back. The reward card flashed in his mind. Card luxury car collector, get a random cash back multiplier on any luxury car purchase. PS1, quantity unlimited. PS2, all cash back funds are 100% legal, confidential, and reliable. Spend away. With a system this awesome, there was no point in overthinking it. Buy what you love, and buy what's expensive. Bottom line, go big or go home. So far, they'd only passed a bunch of low-end brands, which obviously didn't do anything for Jiang Cheng. He just kept walking. Lu Xian, on the other hand, had never been to an auto show before and was checking out every booth with wide-eyed wonder. "Jiang Cheng, why are those dudes with the cameras lying on the ground to take pictures of the girls in front of the cars?" "Those aren't just dudes," Jiang Cheng deadpanned. "They're pervs." Lu Xian. "Hey, Lu Xian," Wen Jie interjected with a smile. "Have you gotten your driver's license yet?" Jiang Cheng turned to Lu Xian, curious. Lu Xian shook her head. "No. Not yet." "Right, this girl had a rough start. How could she have had time to get a license?" "Starting tomorrow, make time to hit up the driving school next to campus. The company will cover the costs," Jiang Cheng said firmly. "The company doesn't need to cover it, I have my own." "You have a month and a half. If you don't have that license by then, you're fired." Lu Xian, degree, watching their banter, when Jie smiled, but a sudden pang of sadness hit her. She knew Jiang Cheng was hot property and would always have women around him, but since Lu Xian had come into the picture, she and Jiang Cheng had barely had any alone time. The change stung a little. Wen Jie, just as she was getting lost in thought, a surprised voice broke through. It was a woman about Wen Jie's age, looking decent after a solid makeup job. She was holding hands with a guy in his early 30s. "Song Rui." "Long time no see," Wen Jie said politely. "Who's this, honey?" The guy with Song Rui asked, his eyes flashing with interest the moment he saw Wen Jie. "Oh, sweetie, let me introduce you." Song Rui smiled. "This is Wen Jie, my college roommate, basically my sister." "Wen Jie, this is my boyfriend, Jerry. He's got a master's degree from overseas and he's the general manager of a multinational trading company." "Nice to meet you," Jerry said with a perfectly coiffed smile, already sizing up Lu Xian next to her. "Two top-tier babes." Jerry filed that away immediately. Song Rui was alright, but there was no comparison between her and these two. Wen Jie just nodded politely, while Jerry was checking out Wen Jie and the other girl. Song Rui's eyes widened in disbelief as she took in Jiang Cheng. Where did this young hottie come from? He was way too handsome. Jerry was a decent-looking guy, but he was in a different league compared to this wolf cub. At the same time, both members of the couple were thinking the same thing. You could call it telepathy, I guess. "Wen Jie, is this your boyfriend?" Song Rui asked, her throat suddenly dry. No, Wen Jie stammered, blushing. "He's my boss, Jiang Cheng." Mr. Jiang. What? He's your boss. Song Rui was stunned. A boss? This young? Was she being punked? Jiang Cheng was wearing a designer casual outfit, but he was clearly young. Calling him a rich kid was one thing, but boss felt like a stretch. Jerry, standing next to her, relaxed a bit and stuck out his hand to Jiang Cheng. Hey, Mr. Jiang, nice to meet you. The way he said Mr. felt a little condescending. Likewise, Jiang Cheng replied with a knowing smile, shaking his hand. Mr. Jiang, are you looking for a car too? Yep. Seeing Jiang Cheng nod, Jerry glanced at Wen Jia and Lu Xin, then suggested, what a coincidence. I'm actually here to upgrade my ride. Since we've run into each other, why don't we shop together? Sure, whatever, Jiang Cheng said, shrugging with his hands still in his pockets. Chapter 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I used to drive a Mercedes-Benz E-Class, but it felt kind of boring, so I wanted to get an off-roader to have some fun. Imagine taking a road trip down the Sichuan-Tibet line, how cool would that be? But honestly, I'm torn. I initially wanted to just go for a G-Wagon, but I also wanted the 7-seat space of a Range Rover. But if I'm being real, I like the look of the BMW X6 the best. Ugh, I just can't make up my mind. Jerry was going on and on the whole time, just non-stop chatter. Honey, I think the big BMW is the way to go, Song Rui said sweetly, hugging his arm. I love the look of the X6. It's super recognizable, and it looks classy driving around. Nah, the X6 is too cheap. Jerry shook his head. It's only a little over $1 million fully loaded. I'd be embarrassed to show up to meetings with clients in that. Oh. He smoothed his hair with a poor me look and grinned at Jiang Cheng, resting his chin on his hand. Hey, what do you think, Mr. Jiang? Any advice? He was talking to Jiang Cheng, but his eyes kept darting over to Wen Jia and Lu Xin. He was definitely trying to show off. I don't think there's anything to worry about, Jiang Cheng said calmly, glancing at the cars on display. If you like them all, just buy them all. Ha, Jerry scoffed. Mr. Jiang, you're hilarious. Who would buy several cars at that price? Jiang Cheng didn't reply. He just waved to Xing Zhibang and the others in the distance. Mr. Jiang. That one, and that one. Jiang Cheng pointed. Wen Jia, go pay for those 3 cars. Xing, get 3 drivers to take them back later. This, Xing Zhibang and the others looked at the 3 cars Jiang Cheng had pointed out, confused. It was a G-Wagon, an X6, and a Range Rover. Dude. Mr. Jiang, are you serious? Jerry stood there, speechless, as he watched Wen Jia head straight for the dealership. What's so funny? Jiang Cheng shrugged. Only kids make tough choices. As an adult, you get everything. Jerry. Oh, wait. Jiang Cheng thought for a second and called Wen Jia back. Don't get the X6. Hearing that, Jerry felt a wave of relief. One less car is better than nothing, at least it wouldn't be quite as embarrassing. I can't stand the BMW logo. Change it to another G-Wagon. Jerry, exploding head. The BMW salesperson, who had been so enthusiastic, loudly crying face. After the show-offs left looking defeated, Jiang Cheng finally felt some peace and quiet. As they walked past the Mercedes-Benz area, he told them to get 5 Mercedes-Benz V-Class vans for the security company. The Mercedes-Benz sales manager, thrilled to have found a big spender, gave Jiang Cheng and the others the star treatment. He was beaming from ear to ear. Mr. Jiang, what kind of car are you interested in? Jiang Cheng's eyes scanned the row of S-Class models on display. Do you have any Maybachs? He asked slowly. Yes, we do. Hearing Maybach, the manager practically jumped for joy. The Maybach display is in Hall A. Would you like me to take you there? Sure. Alright, Mr. Jiang, please follow me. With the Mercedes-Benz manager leading the way, they bypassed the crowd and entered Hall A. Hall A was the premier exhibit at the auto show, featuring only the most luxurious and high-end brands. Due to its popularity, the organizers had implemented strict crowd control measures. Only specially invited guests with VIP tickets could enter, and regular visitors had to wait in a long line. As a big spender, Jiang Cheng definitely wasn't a regular visitor. Following the Mercedes manager, the group entered the VIP line. Bypassing the long queue, the people waiting in line looked on with envy, wondering who this well-dressed young man was and what he did. They whispered and speculated. Jiang Cheng didn't care what they thought. That's just how it is. When you're on top of the world, you don't worry about the whispers of the ants below. Once inside, it was a lot more relaxing. Unlike the crowded and noisy exhibit halls, Hall A was quiet and spacious thanks to the crowd control measures. The temperature was perfect, and aside from a few serious photographers, there weren't any of those annoying photographers who always seemed to be lying on the floor, which was a plus. The people inside were all well-dressed, young, and middle-aged professionals with money to spend. Mr. Jiang, this way. The manager eagerly led them to the Maybach display. The glossy, perfectly polished cars gleamed under the bright lights. The models were even more stunning than in the other halls, with legs that seemed to go on forever, and the headlights were bigger and rounder. Mr. Jiang. The manager stopped in front of a row of Maybach cars. These are all the models we're exhibiting this year. Would you like me to tell you about them? No. Jiang Cheng's gaze settled on a long-bodied car in the center. It was a Maybach 62S, the same car Jack Ma had. He walked up to the display and examined the car. The rounded lines gave it a smooth and natural feel, luxurious but understated. The extended body, the handmade interior, the spacious back seat, the built-in fridge, the private wine cabinet, the surround sound system, all the high-end amenities were there. It was one of the most luxurious cars of its time. Mr. Jiang, this is our Maybachs. How much? The manager was about to give a detailed explanation, but the young man's question stopped him in his tracks. Then he was overjoyed. Mr. Jiang, the sales manager stood up straight and replied professionally, the Maybach 62S is our Mercedes-Benz Group's top-of-the-line luxury sedan. Each part is handmade by our most experienced craftsmen. We can provide up to 2 million in custom options. So the price ranges from 12 to 25 million, depending on the options. Okay. Jiang Cheng snapped his fingers, and the sales manager snapped to attention. I'll take 2, fully loaded at 25 million each. 2, the manager was ecstatic, almost speechless. Mr. Jiang, are you sure you want to order 2 top-of-the-line Maybach 62S? After a short pause, he asked in a trembling voice, barely able to contain his excitement. That's right. The young man said calmly and nodded to Wen Jie, who looked just as surprised. Full payment, transfer it right now. Chapter 99. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, Lee, got any S350 LS in stock? I'll take 2. Sure thing, sir. Top of the line, or... Don't be ridiculous. Right away, sir. Jiang Cheng, having casually ordered a couple of Mercedes S-classes, turned to the stunned Wen Xiaomi. The company's getting you these 2 for transportation. You can give me back that busted 3 Series. No. Mr. Jiang, you've spent nearly 60 million yuan already. Wen Jie, the housekeeper who'd been paying the bills with a grimace, leaned in and whispered, Mr. Jiang, that's almost $8.5 million. What? Not even 60 million yuan. Jiang Cheng looked troubled. We've been shopping all morning, and I've only blown through $8.5 million. At this rate, it'll take forever. Not even 60 million. Wen Jie was clearly baffled. I know Jiang Cheng's loaded, but this is insane. Buying cars for the security company was one thing, but 2 top-of-the-line Maybach 62SS. What was he even trying to prove? 50 million yuan disappeared in a heartbeat. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Does Yaji have any cars on the lot? Yes. Sir, please, have a seat. I'm at your service. Yaji, Continentals, Flying Spurs, the works. If it's something I like, I'll buy it. One yeah, degree, asterisk rich kid. Playboy. Spendthrift. I can't even, star. Meanwhile, on the other side of Area A, the supercar section was the hottest ticket in town. Lambo, Ferrari, Porsche, McLaren, all the big international names were there, but the real showstopper was a matte black supercar, bathed in the spotlights, the main attraction of the show, Koenigsegg's latest road-legal monster, the CCXR edition. A bunch of well-dressed young guys were gathered around it, drooling. Damn. Koenigsegg CCXR edition. No cap, that's serious heat. 4.8-liter supercharged V8, 1018 horsepower, 1080 max torque, weighs only 1.2 tons, 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds, and a theoretical top speed of 273 miles per hour. It's practically an F1 car. I need to hear this beast roar. Ha! Just buy it then, right? Bro, don't even joke. That's gotta be at least $500,000, right? You buying it for us? I'm gonna go sell some of Dad's stock. Even if you did, you're too late. Didn't you see Shuang roll up? The legendary Xi Jing Ice Queen. Looks like that Koenigsegg's gonna be hers. Shoo. You trying to get us killed? That while they were chatting, Shen Songshuang and her brother, Shen Yunpeng, were negotiating with a suit in the sales office. Mr. Miao, you know that overseas, this Koenigsegg only costs $6.6 million. Even with import taxes and markups, it doesn't add up to $5 million extra. Don't sweat $5 million, just sell it to my sister at our price. Gentlemen, I'm only the agent for Koenigsegg in China, I can only resell, not set the price. This CCXR edition is one of only 6 in the world. Headquarters has made it clear that if the price doesn't meet the threshold, we can't sell it. It'll hurt the brand. Don't try it, Mr. Miao, we know you can sell it for $4.5 million. Yunpeng, knock it off. Shen Songshuang cut him off, then addressed the manager, Mr. Miao, I'm sorry, I might need to think about it. No problem. But this Koenigsegg CCXR edition will only be in Xijing for 2 days. Then, it'll be shipped to Magic City, Shanghai. Manager Miao gave a pointed reminder. Feel free to call if you change your mind. He stood up and left. He knew $5 million was steep, not everyone could drop that kind of cash on a supercar, but Manager Miao wasn't sweating it. There were plenty of buyers in China for this limited edition Koenigsegg, he had nothing to worry about, but Shen Songshuang was annoyed. She was a racing enthusiast, and she'd had her eye on this supercar for ages. She was ready with $6.4 million in cash but had thought this was enough, but the seller wouldn't budge. It was true that if the car went to Shanghai, it would be sold immediately, but she'd regret it. Sis, seeing her frustration, Shen Yunpeng suggested, it's only 500 grand more. Can't we just pay it? Shen Songshuang frowned. Oh yeah, and you're paying, 0.500 grand wasn't that much, for her, but adding 500 grand to an already tight 6.4 million would be tough. Ahem. Shen Yunpeng changed the subject, didn't Lao Jiang send us that 100 mil? Yunpeng, get that thought out of your head. Shen Songshuang blew up. That money's for the group's revenue. You can't touch a cent. $500,000 isn't bad, you are so rich, why don't you just sell some stocks to cash out and fill it back in a few days? Get out. Fine. She thought about it and reasoned that buying the Koenigsegg was doable. After all, money comes and goes, but this car was a limited edition and a missed opportunity. She smiled, thinking of herself in the driver's seat. Shen Songshuang had made up her mind when suddenly the crowds erupted in excitement. What's going on? Shen Yunpeng looked around, his expression changing. Sis. Oh no. Someone bought the Koenigsegg. Chapter 100. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? Shen Songshuang's eyes went wide, and she jumped to her feet. Are you kidding me? How would you know that? She snapped, a flicker of hope still in her voice. This was the first day of the auto show. No one drops 50 million on a supercar without even haggling. right? I'm not lying. Shen Yunpeng, her brother, stood on a stool, craning his neck to see into the crowded central booth. He's in. I saw him. Damn it. He's going in. That's it. He's paying now. Wait a sec. Doesn't that guy look familiar? Holy crap. Is that old Jiang? What? Shen Songshuang's face drained of color. Jiang Cheng. No way, didn't he just drop over 100 million to snatch that project from her? How could he suddenly have another 50 million to throw around? Move. Snapping out of it, Shen kicked her brother aside, stepped up onto the chair with her long legs, and peered toward the center of the booth. She saw manager Miao, who'd been so dismissive to her earlier, practically groveling before a handsome young man. The guy was practically bowing and scraping. Damn it, Shen Songshuang cursed under her breath, jumped down, and shoved her way toward the crowd. Meanwhile, Jiang Cheng, sitting in front of the central booth, was the center of attention. Who's this guy? Some CEO's kid. People who didn't know him were wondering who this young hotshot was, dropping that kind of money on a Koenigsegg CCXR edition. 50 million for a car. He didn't even blink. Where did this rich kid come from in Xijing? Could be some coal baron's son from up north. Yeah, if his family owns a mine, he's got money to burn. As the murmurs swirled, when Jia, the housekeeper, came out of the finance office, looking defeated after swiping Jiang Cheng's card. 50 million. For one car. And Mr. Jiang bought it without a second glance. When Jia rubbed her head, baffled, counting the Maybach and Bentley from earlier, they'd blown through 100 million just on cars this morning. It's just a car. As long as it has 4 wheels, isn't that enough? Why buy something so expensive? Mr. Jiang is usually so calm. Has he totally lost it today? Should I call 911? Unlike the worried Wen Jia, Lu Xin seemed much calmer, at least on the outside. Inside, she was reeling from Jiang Cheng's spending spree. Her eyes were wide with shock, her mind stuck on repeat. Who am I? Where am I? What just happened? Jiang Cheng, meanwhile, was busy calculating the total cost of the car, less than 200 million. Still ways to go. Placing a large order directly with the manufacturer would get him that 300 million at once, but he had other plans. To make his mortgage loan plan work, he needed a top-of-the-line luxury car. The more expensive, the better. Screw it, I'm too lazy to overthink it. I'll just buy them all. With that thought, he raised his hand. Mr. Jiang, can I help you with anything else? Manager Wei, alerted and eager to please such a big spender, asked respectfully. The supercar's here. Jiang Cheng gestured around. Do you have a list of all the brands and models? Yes, sir. Manager Wei's face went from surprise to ecstatic. This guy's gonna buy more. As the auto show organizer, he made commission on every car sold. Mr. Jiang, here's the complete list of all supercars in Area A, with specs and prices. Manager Wei presented the list with both hands. Thanks. Jiang Cheng took it and quickly scanned the prices. Mr. Jiang, a frosty voice cut through the air. Shen Songshuang, radiating icy displeasure, marched over. The crowd parted before her, intimidated by her cold aura. No one wanted to cross the ice queen. Mr. Shen, we meet again. Most people were afraid of her, but Jiang Cheng just smiled. Jiang Cheng, are you doing this on purpose? Shen Songshuang wasn't in the mood for pleasantries. Everyone here knows I came for that Koenigsegg CCXR. And you just waltzed in and bought it out from under me? Isn't that a little unethical? This was a woman used to getting her way. Jiang Cheng was getting under her skin. First, he stole a crucial project from her, and now this car. Frustrated, she snapped. Mr. Shen, you've got it all wrong. Jiang Cheng remained calm, a smile on his face. This is a car show. Everything here is for sale. It was available when I got here. I happened to like it, so I bought it. How is that stealing something from you? You. Shen Songshuang, flustered, stamped her foot. There are plenty of supercars here. You just had to buy the one I wanted. You're doing this on purpose. Who said I'm only buying one? Jiang Cheng raised his eyebrows, held up the list, and snapped his fingers at Manager Wei. Mr. Jiang, what can I do for you? This, starting here. Jiang Cheng's finger traced down the list of supercars. I'll take them all.